What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Dana White confirms what's next for Ilia Topuria. Since Ilia Topuria announced that he was vacating the featherweight title and moving up to 155 full-time, the expectation has been that he'll either fight Islam Makhachev for the title or fight another top-ranking contender for the interim belt. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. On Thursday, ahead of this weekend's UFC 315, Topuria confirmed during a Spanish-speaking appearance on El Hormiguero that he'll either be fighting Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira on the UFC 317 card this coming summer. This news was then confirmed by Dana White during the Fight Week press conference for this weekend's card. During the presser, Dana said that Saturday's fight between Belal Muhammad and Jack Della Maddalena would likely dictate who Topuria fights next.
For Dana, Ilia Topuria did an interview a few minutes ago where he said the winner of this fight is going to determine whether he fights Islam Makhachev or Charles Oliveira on International Fight Week. Can you confirm that that's the stakes attached to this main event too?
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts right now, and yeah, that's pretty accurate.
If Muhammad wins, the expectation is that Makhachev will stay at 155 and defend the title. On the other side, however, if JDM wins, then Makhachev will move up in pursuit of a second title and Topuria will fight Charles Oliveira. While the UFC's plans are hinging on how things play out on Saturday, Belal Muhammad's been saying that there's no sense in the champion waiting to finalize his next fight when he'll be leaving Montreal with welterweight gold on Sunday. When talking about a potential fight with Islam Makhachev, Ilia Topuria said the following during the interview. "He's never faced someone like me. I don't think he'll even touch my legs, because the first thing he feels, he'll want me to send him back to Russia. I think Makhachev is being cautious. The only reason he doesn't want to fight me is because he knows I'm going to beat him." Do you think Ilia Topuria has what it takes to defeat Makhachev? UFC 315 weigh-ins plus last-minute change. With the UFC 315 weigh-ins wrapping up, let's take a look at everything notable that happened. First, the main event between Belal Muhammad versus JDM is official, with both fighters making weight for the 170-pound title fight. While making weight, the Montreal commissioner didn't recognize Belal Muhammad. He literally cannot catch a break.
UFC welterweight champion Borralho, remember the name of Muhammad.
Main event.
Main event 170, sir. And you go with it.
While we're on the topic of the main event, the backup fighter Ian Garry also made weight as well. He weighed in at 168 pounds. The co-main event between Valentina Shevchenko and Manon Fiorot is also official, with Valentina weighing in at 124 and Manon Fiorot weighing in at 125. Lastly, we have a change to a UFC 315 fight between Jose Aldo and Ayman Zahabi that was set at bantamweight. Surprisingly, both fighters missed weight, with Jose Aldo coming in at 143 pounds, which is 7 pounds higher than what was signed for, and Ayman Zahabi weighing in at 142 pounds. So now it looks like the fight is scheduled to be a featherweight fight. After the weigh-ins, Zahabi shared a video showing he weighed 136.8 pounds and was on track to make weight before his team informed him that Aldo was going to miss weight. Jon Jones joining Russian Tough? Fight fans are still waiting to find out if and when Jon Jones is going to retire, vacate the title, or fight Tom Aspinall. But from the looks of things, the champion is in no rush to figure out his next move. This week, Jon Jones was seen at a villa in Thailand, where the Russian equivalent of The Ultimate Fighter was filmed. On top of that, Jones was seen in videos and pictures with one of the ALF reality hosts, Marif Pidaev. From the looks of things, Jones is going to follow in the footsteps of other UFC fighters like Arman Tsarukyan and Khamzat Chimaev and coach on the show, which was previously called Hype Reality. In a post on social media, a reporter named Param Pam wrote, "Jon will be one of team captains on ALF MMA Reality, Russian clone of Dana White's Contender Series. So much more of this coming," along with a video of Jones and Pidaev play fighting. During a separate video with a creator named Jeffrey Wu, Jones answered some fan questions, including one about Daniel Cormier.
Jon versus Peak DC at heavyweight. Would it be different?
Peak Bones versus Peak DC at heavyweight?
Yeah.
I believe I beat Daniel Cormier at heavyweight worse than I beat him at light heavyweight. I feel like my speed has transferred over in a way that his hasn't. I think I beat him up pretty worse at heavyweight. I kick harder. I know he punched harder as a heavyweight, but I kick a lot harder. I'll see what my kicks did to him on the first fight.
While Jones is enjoying himself, what fight fans really want to know is whether he's going to fight Tom Aspinall. Update on UFC broadcast deal. The UFC still has until the end of the year before their broadcasting deal with ESPN is up, and from the sounds of things, the promotion is in no rush to finalize a new deal. Since their exclusive negotiating period with ESPN expired in April, TKO president and COO Mark Shapiro stated on a quarterly earnings call on Thursday that the promotion is in discussions with other companies besides ESPN, but there's been no movement on the potential deal. He was quoted by MMA Fighting as saying, "We're in discussions at this time with various third parties regarding the UFC's rights. I would term the conversations as thoughtful and strategic. Nothing to announce at this time, and ESPN is still heavily included in the mix. We would be thrilled to continue with them, and they're definitely part of the equation, but as I said, for the time being, just various conversations, various parties, and no real updates beyond that." One of the biggest talking points surrounding the deal is the possibility of the UFC moving away from a pay-per-view model. While the UFC has held pay-per-view events for years now, Dana White notably said that if the UFC's new broadcasting partner wants to go in another direction, he and the UFC are listening. Gilbert Burns concerned for Islam Makhachev. Islam Makhachev's win over Renato Moicano put him in sole possession of the record for most consecutive lightweight title defenses. But the way Gilbert Burns sees things, the champion nearly himself to get to the lightweight title fight limit of 155. Amid talk of the champion potentially moving up to fight for welterweight gold, Burns explained during an interview with Inside Fighting that he thinks Makhachev may look even better at 170 than he does at 155. And in a fight against either Belal Muhammad or Jack Della Maddalena, he's picking Makhachev. I think Islam is a welterweight. He's already big. He just himself to make weight, and every time he makes weight, he looks horrible. After the weigh-in, he's big again. I think he's a welterweight. Yes, I favor him over Jack and Belal. Not an easy fight, but yeah. While Burns favors Makhachev against both Muhammad and JDM, there's no talk right now of Makhachev potentially fighting a teammate in Belal Muhammad if he winds up emerging victorious from his main event fight with JDM this weekend. As Muhammad also noted, he doesn't think that the UFC and Makhachev's team are planning a fight behind his back. Caio Borralho not happy with middleweight division. Caio Borralho's practically been begging for a fight over the past few months, and yet there's still been no news regarding when he'll fight again, or who he'll fight against. While Borralho had been campaigning for a fight against Nasruddin Imavov, the top-ranked contender declined. Now, with plenty of other ranked fighters all booking fights for the upcoming months, Borralho wants to know where Nasruddin Imavov is. In a post on social media on Thursday, he broke down some of the more notable upcoming fights and expected fights at middleweight, taking aim at Imavov for being MIA. DDP vs. Hamzat, Whitaker vs. De Reeder, Hernandez vs. Dolidze, Adesanya vs. Strickland, Robocop vs. Hermanson. Can I start calling the FBI, CIA, or Secret Service to find where Imavov is? Borralho then followed it up with another post, taking aim at the middleweight division in general. Everybody getting booked in middleweight division. I think they realized how good I am. Can I retire now? The last time Borralho fought was in August, when he picked up a unanimous decision win over Jared Cannonier to push his UFC record to 7-0. UFC fight updates. With just days to go until this weekend's UFC 315 card, let's take a look at today's UFC fight updates, starting with a new addition to the UFC Fight Night Atlanta card on June 14th. According to Raoni Barcelos, he'll be colliding with Cody Garbrandt on the card in what will be the final fight of the former bantamweight champion's current contract. Garbrandt will be looking to bounce back from a loss to Davison Figueiredo at UFC 300. On the flip side, Barcelos will look to build on a 2-fight win streak that most recently saw him defeat Peyton Talbot in January. Next up, we got a middleweight fight between Jack Hermanson and Gregory Robocop Rodriguez, which was added to the International Fight Week card in late June. The fight will see Hermanson look to build on a win over Joe Pyfer, while on the flip side, Robocop looks to bounce back from a loss to Jared Cannonier in February. The following month, when the UFC hits Louisiana for the UFC 318 card, Adam Fugit will collide with Islam Dulatov in a fight that will see Fugit look to build on a split decision victory over Josh Quinlan in June, and Dulatov look to pick up his first win inside the octagon since earning a contract on Dana White's Contender Series in October. This card will also reportedly host a long-awaited fight between Marvin Vettori and Brendan Allen, who came to blows last summer. Vettori is fresh off a decision loss to Roman Dolidze. On the flip side, Allen is in the midst of a 2-fight skid that most recently saw him drop a decision to Fluffy Hernandez. The following month, Julius Walker and Rafael Cerqueiro will collide in the UFC Vegas 109 card at the Apex on August 19th. Walker will look to bounce back from a loss in his UFC debut back in February. On the flip side, Cerqueiro will be looking to pick up his first win inside the octagon after going winless in his first 2 fights. And last but not least, Triple C Henry Cejudo announced that he will be participating in a grappling match in Kazakhstan at the end of this month.
All my Kazakhstan brothers and sisters of MMA. This is the Triple C, the Olympic champ, the flyweight champ, and the bantamweight champion of the world. In other words, bah! But guess what, guys? Triple C is coming to Kazakhstan. That's right. I'm coming to Alash Pride Fight League tournament. You guys be there or be square, because Triple C is coming.
Luke Rockhold goes off on Bo Nickal. Luke Rockhold may not be competing in the octagon anymore, but that hasn't stopped him from taking shots at Bo Nickal on the heels of the NCAA Legends loss to Rainier de Reeder on the UFC Fight Night Des Moines card. During an appearance on Submission Radio this week, the former champ unloaded on Nickal, saying that he's not only pathetic, but he also isn't a real fighter at heart. This kid, Bo Nickal, is pretty pathetic, talking a big game he was, but he was looking for a way out from the first round on. The kid just needs to shut up. Bo just quit like a little It was kind of pathetic to see a kid talk all of this game. There's such a thing as competitors. Wrestlers can be competitors, but they cannot be fighters all the time. This kid is not a fighter. He's a competitor, and he's really at heart. As Rockhold concluded, he doesn't believe that there's anything Nickal can do to become an elite fighter, with the former champ saying that even if Nickal looks to implement a strictly wrestling-type game plan, he still won't have what it takes to reach the upper echelons of the fight game. For his part, Nickal seems to have taken the loss in stride and is eager to get back in the octagon sooner rather than later. While we're on the topic of Bo Nickal, he reacted to the fight and sent a message to all the people hating on him after his recent UFC loss. Here's what he had to say.
And all the people that, it's interesting, of course, you mentioned there's a lot of positive and a lot of negative. All the negative, for me, I look at that and all I say is just like, at the end of the day, like, say what you want, but when I get back on top and when I'm the freaking champion of the world,
they're all crawling back.
You all come crawling back.
They always do.
They always do. They always do. And I'll spit right in your face. As soon as you crawl back and, Bo, come give me an interview, blah, blah, blah.
Where were you?
Where were you? Where were you? And guess what? I'm going to say, okay, come over here. Loogie right between the eyes. And that's how I'll treat you guys. And every single one of you that says a bad thing, I have the memory of an elephant.
UFC forced to change rules for UFC 315. With UFC 315 happening this weekend, a sudden rule change revealed a rare move that's been banned. And before we continue, we have a favor to ask. Help us reach 200,000 subscribers on MMA Zone by subscribing and turning on notifications for daily MMA content. Seriously, we rarely miss a day. At UFC 315, the foot stomp will not be allowed. According to MMA reporter Aaron Bronstetter, the commissioner will follow all basic MMA rules besides allowing foot stomps. He tweeted, I'm told that the Quebec Athletic Commission will be utilizing the unified rules of MMA for UFC 315 with one notable exception. Foot stomps will not be permitted. According to him, the foot stomps have always been banned in Quebec, and they have no interest in changing that rule. While foot stomps are rarely seen in the UFC anymore, notable names have used them effectively over the years, like Kamaru Usman and John Jones. Do you agree with the Quebec Commission, or should they update their rules to include foot stomping? And do you see it affecting any of the fights on UFC 315? Let us know in the comments below.